Olubisi Shaola, a certified and renowned lawyer with a good track record and passion for representing and tending to legal matters of various companies. On his retainer, offering practical legal solutions, particularly in the area of property law. You can mute yourself and you can show your video. Due to his dexterity and passion for growth, he has successfully transitioned into property development with a plethora of buildings to his credit using the build and sell model. Today, he will be speaking to us on legal sense for small business owners. Legal sense for small business owners. And here I present to you Olubisi Shaola. You're welcome, sir, to the Global Youth Empowerment Summit. We appreciate you for all that you are doing, your contribution to make this event a great one. So you have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege, it's an honor to be here, and I'm most happy and most delighted. Like the coordinator said, I've been here from the start of this event, and something interesting happened as I was following this program. For some reason, my laptop just froze, and my slide happened to be my laptop, so I had to quickly make another one. So just bear with me. This slide I want to present right now, it still captures almost everything that that we were supposed to talk about. So I will just share it like that. So just excuse the arrangement, but I will make sure that no substance is lost. Okay, so let me share it right now. Okay. Yes, legal sense for small business owners. Regardless of anywhere you are, whether you are in Nigeria, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Burundi, anywhere you are on the face of the earth, it is very, very important that you register your business. The number one criteria to be global is registration. So in any terrain you find yourself, whether you are a shoemaker, whether you are into the bakery business, whether you are a fashion designer, it doesn't really matter. You have to find a way to register your business. Now, when you register your business, it helps you in several ways. Now, I will take the Nigerian situation as a case study because we are in Nigeria. But I don't know if you're joining from any other place around the world. I don't know what obtains in your place. I know what obtains in America and Canada, but I will talk about Nigeria. So there are two types of registration if you want to do business in Nigeria. There is the business name registration, and there is the limited liability registration. So I will first talk about the business name registration. So let's say, for instance, you have a small business, you buy and sell. You have a restaurant, for instance, and it is only you and just maybe one or two people from your team that coordinate it. So in that instance, there is something called, under the business name, sole proprietorship. That means that you are solely the one in charge of the business. There is no board of directors directing anything. So when it comes to decision making, when it comes to actions to be taken, when it comes to things to do, everything falls within your purview. So therefore, if you are a small business owner, then sometimes being a sole proprietorship would help you. Why? Because it is cheaper to create. If you want to, for instance, register a business name in Nigeria, you would probably spend around 20,000, 15,000 or 30,000 to create the business name. So it is cheaper to create a business name. It is also easier to run. when it comes to taxes. There was a time that one of our clients was having issues with taxation. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, they gave them huge taxes. Now, they were able to generate this bill for them. I mean, the tax managers, they were able to generate this bill for them based on their turnover from their banks. So what we did was, when they came to us, we realized that the regulators, that is the Federal Inland Revenue Service, they were targeting businesses that were limited liabilities. So what we did then was, we now created a sole proprietorship, that is business name registrations. We created like 5 of them. And the reason why we did that was because when you do a sole proprietorship, when you create a business name, you tend to pay less. The attention is not on you like it is on limited liability. So number one, it is cheaper to create, that is for business name. Secondly, it is easier to run. Then thirdly, it is most ideal if your business is not that big yet. Let's take, for instance, you are into rentals. You rent canopies and chairs and cooking equipment. It will not really make any business sense for you to go and register a group of companies or limited liability and all that. Organically, if you grow, then you can now grow and expand to become a limited liability company. So it is cheaper to create, it is easier to run, and it is most ideal for small businesses. Now, one of the major disadvantages of a business name registration, when you are liable, when something happens in your business, let's take, for instance, you cook, you are a caterer, you cook, and one of your engagements, for some reason, there was food poisoning in your food. When somebody eats that food and they go away and they come back to you that they've been poisoned, and due to that poison, they suffered some kind of health hazard or something, and it has been proven, you would personally be liable. What I mean is, if you have 10 million in your bank account, and my name is Olubisi Shaola, for instance, and I am a caterer, I cook, and I have cooked my food, and it's a wonderful food, and somebody eats it one day, and he or she becomes sick. Upon that, it was proven that my food was the one that made them sick. If the person should sue me, and they sue me to the tune of 10 million naira, and we go through the process of courts, and the court says, okay, go and pay them money, they will come and take that money from my bank account. Because as a business owner, as a business registration owner, as a sole proprietor, you are personally liable for anything that goes wrong in your businesses. So that is one of the major disadvantages of having a business name registration as opposed to a limited liability. Secondly is when you want to put in for a job, let's say you want to apply for a loan, for instance. Yes, some financial institutions, they do take business name registration, but a lot of them would want you to bring in a limited liability registration. They would want you because it is tidier that way. Then if you are putting in for if you're bidding for a contract and they are looking through your books, and if you have 10 limited liability companies and 2 sole proprietorship, that is business name registration, they would first give credence to the limited liability companies than the sole proprietorship or the business name people. Now, it's not as if there is a particular law that empowers them to do this, but it's just by practice. It is just by reason of how they do things on a regular. So if you know that you want to expand and for some reason you don't have the funds right now, you can start off by registering a business name. Then organically, as time goes on, you can grow and improve that to become a limited liability. So the first form of registration in Nigeria, that is the business name registration. The second one is the limited liability company registration. This is a situation whereby you have directors, you have the board of directors, and before now it used to be 2 minimum directors. Now the CAC and the government, there is something called the Company and Allied Matters Act. That is the law that regulates business registration in Nigeria. So they've improved on that law so that only you can apply for a limited liability company and you'll be registered. Before now, you need to have minimum of 2 people to run it and a maximum of 50 directors. So when you have a limited liability company, what it does is this. That analogy I gave to you earlier on, I am a caterer, I have cooked my food. Now, if I personally, Olubisi Shaola, I have 10 million naira in my bank account, and my company, that is ABC Restaurant, that is my company, and ABC Restaurant is having 1 million in its own account. Keep in mind, I personally, I have 10 million in my bank account. ABC Restaurant, which is a limited liability company that I created, is having 1 million in the bank account. So if my food, for some reason, makes somebody sick and they go to court and the court awards them 10 million naira in damages, because ABC Restaurant, which is my limited liability company, is having 1 million, that is all they can claim. They cannot come over and touch my own personal money. Why? Because under the law, a limited liability company is different from the shareholders and the proponents. A limited liability company has its own legal personality. It's a person on its own. So if I say, my name is Olubisi Shaola is different from ABC Restaurant. That is the way the law sees it. So that is one of the major advantages of having a limited liability company. It shields you from liability. It helps you so that the extent of your liability stays with the company. Of course, there are some instances where the law would lift the veil and they would want to come from me personally. That is, there are some exceptions to that, but generally, they don't come and touch my own assets. So the assets of the proponents are separate and distinct from the assets of the business name. So let me quickly juxtapose the two. In business name, if you are liable, they will touch the money in the account of the money and the assets of that business name. And if it is not enough, they will still come for your own personal assets. Meanwhile, as a limited liability company, they can only touch the assets and the accounts of the business. They don't touch mine. Secondly, you have better opportunities. If you are bidding for a job, if you're going for a loan, whatever you're going for, you are being viewed as a more serious person than a business name. Now, keep in mind, it is not as if we don't have business names that are doing well. We have a property outfit and we have 2 companies that run it. We have one that is actually a limited liability company, and we also have another one that is also a business name registration. But it's just that generally they view limited liability company people as more serious than business name. One of the major disadvantages of limited liability companies, it is more expensive to create. So if it is going to cost you 20,000 to create a business name, it's going to cost you like maybe 70,000 or 50,000, depending on the lawyer or the chartered accountant or the secretary that is running it for you. So it is relatively more expensive to run. Also, you are likely to be targeted by the tax regulators. The instance I gave before, our client that was into oil and gas, they have gas filling stations, and FIRS, that is Federal Inland Revenue Service. The only way, because they know that if they rely on the books of companies, most companies will doctor it, quote and unquote, the Nigerian factor. So, but if you have a business name, so what we did then was we told them, instead of having a limited liability company, let us do business name for you. So when we did the business name, the turnover is what they use. That is the tax people. They will look at your turnover. Now, based on your turnover, they will now say, okay, company ABC has done 400 million naira turnover. So once they do that, they will flag your company. Then they will now beam their search on you. But if you are running a business name and your turnover is a bit low, because most business name, they try to keep their turnover within that circle of limit. So it does not expose you to scrutiny, and you are fine with the tax regulators. So we've done a business name owner, and we've done a limited liability owner. So obviously, depending on your size, you can be a business owner. Now, if you are thinking to be global, there is no how you will stay having just a business name. It is not possible. It is just not possible. Why? Because if you are a shoemaker, for instance, and you are doing your business structure, and you are anybody that wants to build a house, you call an architect, they will come up with a building plan. Now, based on the building plan, your engineer will follow on it. The same way, if you want to create a business, as a small business owner, you have sat down within yourself, you are fine-tuning the framework of your business like an architect. You are thinking, okay, this is how I want my business is. So you are creating it, you are drafting the structure. As you are drafting the structure, there must be a time you know that, yes, I don't have the money I should have right now. So I will start off as a business name owner. Then you know that after I grow to this extent, I would expand myself to become a limited liability company. Then in that same framework, in that same setup, in that same business plan, you've told yourself, once I get to another level of that limited liability company, I'll go global. So maybe I'll first go global to Ghana, Gambia, Sierra Leone, neighboring countries, Republic of Benin. You understand? So whichever way you look at it, if you are mindful of being a global person wanting to make a global impact, you will not necessarily choose, okay, business name or limited liability. Even if you are starting off as a business name owner, you would have to still expand it and take it to limited liability company. So let's go to the general advantages of registration. So whether you are you want to go for the business name registration or a limited liability company, anyone you intend to take, number one is legitimacy. If you are a shoemaker, if you run a makeup studio, for instance, the first point of call, the first people that will patronize you, friends and families. Yes, that is the first one that will go for you. But as you go on, other people that want to come and check you out. So let's say you're a shoemaker and you've created a page on IG or on Instagram, on TikTok and all that. And somebody wants to come in and buy shoes from you on a wholesale level and resell. One of the things they will look at is, this is not your family, this is not your friend. One of the major things they will look at is your registration status, to know that, okay, is this person even registered with the government? Now, registration in itself does not mean that they will patronize you, but it is one of the things they will consider when they want to patronize you. Secondly is protection. If you happen to have a limited liability company, your liabilities is reduced. You are protected so that your personal assets are not being tampered with. It is only the assets of the company that is being affected should you have any liabilities. The third one is you have a better immigration opportunity. If you want to travel, I know fully well that if you want to travel to the UK, for instance, and Canada, they look more on your registration status. American does not look so much, at least this is to the best of my knowledge. I stand to be corrected. I'm talking from my own personal experience and the stories I've heard. So now, if you are traveling to the UK, they will check to see the status of your company. If your company has been existing for 10 years, if you fail to file your annual returns, which is what you do yearly at the CAC level, and they search your company at the CAC, they put your name, ABC Nigeria Limited or ABC Foods Industry, and they check it. And because you have not filed your annual returns and the status says inactive, keep in mind that online it is saying inactive, but in reality, you are still fully in business. You know, because a lot of people will still be doing business and they will not file their annual returns. So you can be using ABC Nigeria, you are still supplying your goods and services, you are still buying and selling, but online at the CAC level, they put your name in it and they see that it is inactive because you have not filed your annual returns. The UK Immigration Service will turn down your application. Why? Because to them, it is inactive, which means that having a CAC status helps your immigration opportunities. The same for Canada. So the fourth one is access to loan. You cannot approach any institution for loan, and they will oblige you if you don't have any registration status. Even your family, your if you want to use quote and unquote connect, they will tell you first, please go and register, even if it's a business name registration. After you're done registering, then you can bring it, then we can help you. So we can use our connection. If, for instance, I have a cousin and I am influential in a bank, and my cousin comes to me and says, please, I need you to give me a loan. And I'll be like, okay, fine, no problem. What document do you have? If he comes to me and says, I don't have any document, there is nothing I can work with. So generally, whether you are a business name owner or a limited liability company owner, it helps you when you want to apply for financial aid and financial instruments at the bank or any other financial institutions. Of course, if you want to take a personal loan, if a friend wants to lend you money, you might probably not need all of this. So that is the fourth advantage of having a business name registration. So another legal sense you need to have, especially if you want to be that global person, if you want to be operate on a bigger scale, it is your intellectual property. Before now, like 7 years ago, IP wasn't really this popular. We call it IP, intellectual property. It wasn't this popular. And that was due to the fact that Nigeria was just opening up to that area. But right now, it is an area where a lot of people need to focus on. There are three major facets of intellectual property. There is a copyright, there is the trademark, and there is patent. Now, a typical person will tell you that these things matter if you're a big company. No, sir. No, ma. They don't. Because you think to yourself, you're just running a barbering salon. Why should I bother myself with intellectual property? I am just a solar inverter engineer. Why should I bother myself with intellectual property? Now, that is the mistake you're making. Keep in mind that you are thinking to yourself that in your business structure I earlier mentioned, you are at the level you are right now. But you are thinking that the same person that is operating in Ikire in Ondo State sees himself having an office somewhere in London, UK. The same person that is just a restaurant owner in Ketu, Lagos, Nigeria, is thinking to himself that one day, someday, I'll be in Accra, Ghana, with a branch of it. So if you have that global mindset, if you are thinking to yourself that, okay, this is where you are going to be, whatever you are doing at the present level would reflect that future, even though you are not there yet physically, but in your mind you are there. So let me bring this to intellectual property. Let's say, for instance, you are a creator. Let me quickly run through it. Copyright is simply the exclusive rights granted to an originator of the creative work of author, artists, works, and songwriters, and all that. So let's say, for instance, you are a fine artist. You sketch and you draw. Now, for some reason, you have done one great drawing. Keep in mind that you are just somewhere in Alalubosa in Ibadan. You're just your local person, but you've done a great drawing. Now, as you've done this drawing, it'd be obvious to go into a scheme by the Copyright Copyright Act of Nigeria, so that you can protect yourself. If you do not register at this scheme for copyright, I see that drawing. Let's say, for instance, you post that drawing. Now, this drawing probably took you 3-4 months to draw. And you are just, quote unquote, you are freestyling. Let me borrow that word for a lack of a better one. And you have put this word on your IG, on your TikTok, on your Facebook. Now, your friends have liked it and all that. I am online one day randomly. I go to the place, I pick your work of art, I can actually sell it. You would have no protection against that. So don't think to yourself, because you are just a watch repair somewhere, because you are just a furniture maker. No. All these things would matter because you are where you are right now. It doesn't mean you are going to stay there. So that is for copyright. What about trademark? Let's say, for instance, there is somewhere in Lagos, they call it Amala Shita. Lagos is Nigeria. And now, that Amala is a type of delicacy in Nigeria. So for those who are in the diaspora who don't know what it is, but I know most people would know what it is. So trademark is like a name. That Amala Shita, in reference, it is in Surulere. Now, there was a day I was somewhere around Lagos Island, and I saw somewhere Amala Shita. Now, Shita is actually a place in Surulere. Everybody knows that when you say Amala Shita, you are talking about that particular woman's place in Surulere. But someone else had, gone ahead to use that same name, to use that same logo, and create another brand. For unsuspecting members of the public, you probably think that is another branch of that woman's shop.
Okay,
now,
okay, sir.
Yes.
All right, can you help us to do like full screen? Some people cannot see the writings right.
Okay, let me see. Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
Full screen, like slideshow, or you can press F5, it will show.
Oh. Okay. What about now? Is it better now?
No, you can just go to slideshow, then click current
okay, hold on.
Current stuff.
Okay, slideshow. Okay. Then current slide.
Yes, from current slide. Awesome, very good.
Is it better now? Okay. So okay, let me go to hold on. So I was talking about trademark. Now, because that woman didn't trademark her name is a regular name, but Shita is a place, Amala is the name of a food. But that coinage, because she had been able to do exceptionally well with that food, people are now replicating that name. Now, when I actually because at that time we're doing an article on trademark. So I actually went to them and asked, like, is this the same person? They said, no, it's just that they just wanted to use the name to create a brand for themselves. So if you have a brand name, if you have a logo, if for some reason, for some instance, they call you Olowoshibi, you can trademark that. If, for instance, they call you Shojuloge, these are Yoruba words for different activities, you can trademark all that. So a word can be trademarked, a phrase can be trademarked, a symbol, a design can be trademarked, so that you own it. When you own it, nobody can come and use it. And when they intend to use it, they would have to pay you. So that is another advantage of having a trademark. So don't think to yourself that I'm just a fashion designer. There are some fashion designers that are very, 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 very good. And you know what? Because we are trying to position ourselves for that physical global stage, we know that where we are right now is not the sum up of where we are eventually going to be. So that is for trademark. We've done copyright. So if you are a singer, if you are a comedian or anything you've done before, you can copyright your creative works. You can copyright them. You know, there are some things that people copyright on YouTube, so that when you want to repost them, you will seek their consent. So the same for trademark as well. Whatever logo you have, whatever phrase you have, just keep building it and go and trademark it. Now, if you don't have the money to do copyright or trademark, at least let it be at the back of your mind that at some point in time you will do this. Let me talk about the last one, which is patent. Patent is more of a process. Let's say you are into let's say you run a bakery business, and it takes 30 minutes to really create and to bake a bread or cake or anything. It takes 30 minutes. But somehow, somewhere, you've been able to use charcoal and other things, and you have not been able to bake bread under 10 minutes, which means you have invented a newer way or a new way of doing that same thing. So what you can do is you can go and patent that thing. And when you do a patent, the law gives you the right to use that monopoly, because this is your creation. The law will give you in a certain number of years to maximize the usage, so that you are the only person that is using that patent. So in a nutshell, intellectual property, it is very, very germane that you are mindful of it. We are global people. We intend to boss on a global stage. These are things that we should incorporate in our business. However small it is, it doesn't really matter. Nobody is saying that it has to be now. But in your business plan, in your architectural work of your business and framework, you must have it in mind that, okay, the name of my fashion designing is exclusive wears. And you are working on the logo. Maybe your logo is purple written exclusive wears. Then you go and trademark it, so that tomorrow you are so big. If somebody wants to do anything tomorrow and you see exclusive wears, you can take them to court and you will be compensated. So that is for intellectual property. Let me quickly go through legal agreements. A lot of people are under a misconception. They will think, because I am a small business owner, I will just tell somebody, come and work for me, and that is it. They will not specify the do's and don'ts. They will not explain the framework. These are the things you are supposed to do. These are your duties. These are the rights. They will not do that. They'll just say, okay, Mr. Jackson, come and work for me, and I'll pay you 10,000 naira, resume at 10. Don't do that. However small your business is, you might not even necessarily have to get a lawyer. Just get a pen and paper. Write out what you can write out. Preferably, it's better to get a lawyer. But if you can't, due to the fact that you are just growing and all that, get a pen and paper. Write, Mr. Jackson, is supposed to resume 8 p.m. Mr. Just put what you can put together. Let me give you an instance. You will see in the Nigerian music industry, you see that some artists would be with a record label, and after they start making money, there's always fights. Why? Because when they were starting out, he's just a regular guy that wants to sing, and the other person too probably just has a couple of money, and they came together, they create their outfit. There was not a specified contract. So a contract will tell you your liabilities, your rights, and your duties, your responsibilities. So it is very, very important as a business owner. It doesn't matter how big or small your outfit is, endeavor to have an employment contract. Endeavor. If you are bringing in a salesperson, just take go to anywhere and just write it down. You are to resume 8 a.m. You are to work for 6 months. I am to pay you 10,000 naira. If you fail to come to work 3 days in a week, this is how much. It does not have to be a legal tautology, quote unquote. You understand? You can just create your own contract. It is very, very important. Don't think you are too small to have an employment contract. You are not. You are not too small, because it costs you nothing. If somebody says go and meet a lawyer, that is the ideal situation. But most small business owners, capital is always an issue. So that is why most of them will start from their homes, their rooms, their small places. And somebody that is starting from that kind of place, you don't expect them to go and be spending money on lawyers and all that. They don't have that money yet. So, but put that structure in place that anybody I'm employing, even if it's 5,000 you are giving them, write it down. Legal documents, employment contract. Mr. Akin Unduka is supposed to start XYZ, date the person starts, date of termination, leave, and all that. So that is important. Secondly is non-disclosure agreements. Let's say you are into okay, let me use this recipe. You are into bakery, or you are into some kind of food restaurant. You cook and you sell. Anybody that knows the place in Lagos, I don't know if they are outside Lagos, but the place in Lagos, everywhere you go to, the same fried rice you see in Ikota or Agege, it is the same one you see in Ikorodu. Why? Because it is a recipe. It is one everywhere at all the outlets. I don't know any other place, but I've been able to take a note of them. Now, when you are bringing in people at your level, and this is a recipe that is yours, you must have the people you are bringing in sign non-disclosure agreements. Non-disclosure agreement means that as you come here, you must not disclose our trade secrets or confidential things. It could even be that there was a time you were running very, very low on cash, and you had to go and borrow somebody's car and use that borrowed car for a loan. Now, those are confidential information that when you have people that work for you sign non-disclosure agreements, they can't come and tarnish your image. They can't go out and say that, okay, when we were together, this person did this. They can't do that. So that is the advantage of having a non-disclosure agreement. Then the third one is founders agreement. Let's say, for instance, you come together, yourself and a couple of other friends. You've created a business, and maybe your business is event planning. That is your business. Now, you've come together to do this. Now, at the friendship level, people don't understand that. When money starts coming in, strife would come up. When there is no money, you guys are still struggling, everybody is fine, let's just do it. So don't make that mistake. If you want to start a business with your friend, or your cousin, or your family member, anybody, don't think, me and this person, we are cool. No. Every marriage today that ended up in divorce was once upon a time, they were best of friends. We have seen nasty cases of divorce, and you are wondering, if you hate each other this much, how come you even consider to marry each other? So therefore, don't think to yourself, Emmanuel is my friend. No, Emmanuel is your friend, but have things spelled out. Let's be clear with these things. So have a founders agreement. We are going into event planning. We are going into construction. We are going into music. Let's have profit sharing. This is how we will divide the profit. Let's say, for instance, two people come together. They form a business. No founders agreement, nothing. Now they make 10 million naira. Somebody thinks, okay, from that 10 million naira, let's apply back 6 million naira into that business. The other person says, no, 6 million is too much. Let's apply down 2 million naira into the business. Disagreement. But when there is a founders agreement, there is a template already. So it doesn't really matter what this person would say tomorrow, because that disagreement should have happened at the point of formulation. So as you are formulating these policies and agreements, you will have known that, okay, this person does not think the same way I'm thinking. So the same way, if you are armed with this, mindset, you know that, okay, I need to create employment contracts. I need to have non-disclosure agreements. I need to have finance agreements. It helps you to position yourself. You already know that these are things that are obtainable outside Nigeria easily. So it is very, very important that we familiarize ourselves with all this. Let me also talk about permits. People who run sachet water, that is popularly called pure water. A lot of people don't know that when you run businesses without permits and licenses, apart from the fact that you are breaking the law, you are positioning yourself for something that would be so difficult to adjust to later on. Because when it is so difficult for you to stay within the ambit of the law in your local premise, when you go abroad where the law is highly obeyed, it becomes a problem. So if you run a pure water, a sachet water factory, for instance, try and register it with NAFDAC, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. Try and register it. If you run fish farming, if you run a bakery, some of these permits are not even so difficult to get. It's just that everybody thinks, oh, I don't have the money. Even if you don't have the money, in your business structure, in that architectural work at the outset, when you were doing that concept, when you are conceptualizing your dream and, okay, this is what I want the business to be, have it in mind that you must get permits. Because if you intend to be global, if you intend to open a branch in Johannesburg, South Africa, if one day, someday, you know that I'm going to be in Argentina, one day, someday, I'm going to be in Ontario, one day, someday, I'm going to be in Hamburg, I'm going to be in Berlin, you must start that thing right now. That whatever business I'm doing, do I need licenses? If I need it, what can I do? One thing is not to have the money to do it yet. Another is to have it in the pipeline. I know that, okay, once I have this money, I'll go and do it. You understand? So it is very, very important to get licenses. If you're into oil and gas, people think that, until you are at the level of O&O, MRS and all that. No, if you have a gas station, for instance, or you intend to go into having filling stations, you should have it at the back of your mind that you are going to get licenses from DPR, that is Department of Petroleum Resources. Let's say you are a lender. There are these local lenders in Nigeria whereby I lend you 100,000, you give me back 120,000. But your dream as a lender is you actually want to be a fintech person. You want to be like the Flutter Wave, you want to be like all these other people. Then you must have it at the back of your mind that at some point you must register with the CBN. If you have a private security firm and what you do right now, you are just a bodyguard. I remember when we used to run event centers, and when we have events like that, we called a couple of guys that are FT. We just call like 3 of them. And I used to ordinarily just want to say, I would just say like, do you have a registration for this? They'll say, no, we are just using this tool. Now, at that level, you might not register it then now, but it must be at the back of your mind that at some point, I am only doing a bodyguard right now, but I intend to have a private security firm, which means I will have to register it with the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. So the whole point is having a situation whereby you can position yourself, get used to these things, acclimatize in them. So it's not as if it is when you now get to France, for instance, they now tell you need to register, and you're like, no, I don't want to do this. You understand? So lastly, taxes. One of the major factors affecting Nigeria today, and that is why people will tell you that a certain presidential candidate of a party did well in Lagos. Now, the only thing he did then was he made sure that people were paying taxes. One of the advantages of paying taxes is when you are used to the idea of, if I make 100,000, 15% goes to the government, federal government, 7% goes to the state government. When you already have that mindset, it helps you so that when you transition and create that global impact, and they now say, okay, you've done very well, come to Kinshasa, come to Zambia. When they tell you to pay taxes in those places, you are not new to it. You are paying your taxes. Secondly, it helps you to stay within the ambit of the law. Nobody will come tomorrow and lock your store and say that you not pay your taxes, you are going to lock the place up. No. The local government in Lagos, what they've done is, for small business owners, they have them pay a random fee. So let's say, for instance, you are running a barbering salon. They'll just tell you, pay 7,000 for the year. So if you are in that kind of society, please do pay it. It helps you. You are conditioning your mind that, okay, I need to pay a fraction of what I am making to the government. You understand? Then lastly, let's say you want to apply for some government contracts, or there are some things you intend to do with the government. They will tell you, go and bring your evidence of tax payment. And they will not want you to pay lump sum to cover 3 years or 2 years. They want someone who had been steadily paying their taxes. So let's say you put in for a contract and they said, please bring evidence of tax payments. And you say, I don't have it, but let me quickly pay it. They can tell you no. They want someone who had been paying year in, year out. So that helps you. And by the time you are doing all of that and you are incorporating that into the fiber of your nature, by the time you go and become the global person, it doesn't even matter again because you are used to it. If I'm used to taking rice with pepper, if I go to South Africa, if I go to Namibia and they give me rice and pepper, it's not going to be a problem for me because I am used to it. So these are some of the legal senses or legal sense that you can have as a business owner. And I hope I've not been, like the earlier speaker said, I hope you were not bored with this talk of mine. So I think I will just yield the floor to Mr. Dayo Aditilo at this instant.
Awesome presentation here. In fact, it has been a lot of I begin to get a lot of legal sense here and all that. From everyone, how's the session been so far? It's time for us to drop questions. I know you have questions, maybe for your own personal business, or you have an idea of what happened somewhere you want to ask opinion of our expert here today. Let's start dropping those questions now. Alade says, this is so informative. Thank you. Please don't stop. All right, somebody say, please don't stop. Of course, we have limited time here because we still have another last session for us to round up for the day. We have an overflow session from yesterday, and we want to have it immediately after a session. From our viewing center in Ondo State, please, if you are still here, send in your questions, and let's get our lawyer to respond today. Question, if you are on Facebook, we recognize you sending your question, then we'll get to answer it now. Teddy said this is very informative. Thank you. Alade says, how can trademark be processed? How can trademark be processed? Okay, let me just, okay, let's wait for all the questions to come in. So I will read them. You can now answer them together. Please send in your questions everywhere. Send in your questions. I can see some people asking the same question. So it makes sense to just answer all of them together. Send in your questions from Facebook, our community from Facebook, from Ondo State in Igbaroke. Send in your questions anywhere you are all over the world. Send in your questions and let's answer them. So let me read what we have here. So the first one is, how can trademark be processed? The second one, please, what is the difference between limited and unlimited liability company? What is the difference between limited and unlimited liability company? This one is a comment, say legal, well done. You have driven in some legal sense in me. Thank you. All right. Another one is brand name same as trademark. As a manufacturing company, which legal body are we supposed to register with? Is brand name same as trademark? As a manufacturing, which legal body are we supposed to register with? Another one, please, what is the difference between limited and unlimited liability company? I think we have done that. Considering the employment contract, what can I do if my boss start bringing in new rules and we never had a written agreement? Considering the employment contract, what can I do if my boss start bringing in new rules and we never had a written agreement? Another one, can I register a business even though not yet started? Can I register a business even though not yet started? Another one, what does it cost to process copyrights and trademark? What does it cost to process copyrights and trademarks? Another person said, please share more light on registration and how they tax small business. Registration and how they tax small business. Another one, I had a friend talking about incorporated trustee. What does that mean? I had a friend talking about incorporated trustee. What does that mean? What is the benefit of registering a trademark? Another one, I have 2 years registered limited liability company. How do I pay my tax? Okay. Another one, I already have a business name. Can it be upgraded to limited liability company? So those are the questions we have. So you can just look through and provide some feedback for them.
Okay.
Then we invite the next speaker to join us.
Okay, I think the major one, the ones I'm saying is how to register a trademark. Now, unlike a limited liability company or CAC and all that, registration of trademark is a bit tedious. Not so much, not that it is not possible, but it's a bit tedious. So what I would advise is this: as a way to give back, I can send you the process, but you will do the legwork yourself. Now, the number one thing you do is you first apply for a name. So let's say you want to trademark adventurous shoes. That is the name of your brand, your logo. That is what you want to trademark. So you first put in that search first. When you put in that search, then it will come back to you if it's available or not. So if it's available or someone else had already trademarked something like that before, that application will be denied. So after the search, after approval, they would you will have to file the application. Once you file the application, then if it goes on well, they confirm the application for you and they give you acceptance. After acceptance, they would publish it so that in case somebody is having it does not offend any religious or anything, they'll publish it. After publication, then they give you your trademark. So what I would do is I can put up, I will send it to Mr. Dyer later on so that you can just have it. Then we can also do like guidance, because I know for most people on this platform, we are trying to be global and we are eventually going to be global. And so I wouldn't want you to, because if you want to know how much it costs, some lawyers will tell you trademark is going to cost you $500,000. Some will tell you it's going to cost you 300,000. But I can tell you for free that if you are willing to do the legwork, you will not spend up to that at all. If you are willing to do the legwork, because what they will charge the lawyer is what they will charge you. Most of the time, what the lawyer will charge you additionally is the time he or she is putting in into that. So let me quickly go to the next question. They said, what is the difference between limited and unlimited company? Okay, just from the name, an unlimited company means that there is no limitation to your liabilities. So if I have 10 million, the name of the company is ABC Nigeria Limited, and we have 10 million in our bank account. Now, when they come and check, and they'll go to our account, they say, okay, they have 10 million naira. So that is the extent of your liability. But when you are having an unlimited, just from the name, it does not know any bounds. There is no, limited means this is like from here to here, it stops at this point. But from the name, it does not have limitation. It goes beyond every threshold. So let me quickly go to the next question. Benefits of registering a trademark. I said it earlier, when you register a trademark, you can profit from it. Keep in mind that you are trying to create something of worth. Now, you have done so much and you have invested your time, your creativity, and you have been able to build that brand. So when you register it, nobody can profit from it without coming to get your content, which you can monetize. So that is one of the major advantages of trademark. Then somebody talked about, can you use brand name for trademark? Yes, definitely you can. As a matter of fact, those are the things that qualifies for you to have a trademark. Okay, somebody talked about incorporated trustee. Now, this is the third one I didn't mention, and because incorporated trustee is not a business venture. That was why I didn't mention it in the business registration. So when you are talking about registration at the CAC level, you have three things. There is business name registration. That was the first one I mentioned. Then there is a limited liability company. That's the second one. The third one is incorporated trustee. Now, incorporated trustee is majorly for NGOs, non-profit organizations. So, or limited by guarantee. So let's say, for instance, you want to open a foundation, a motherless babies home, or you want to a cancer retreat or something, or any form of NGO, the major distinctive element of incorporated trustee is that it is not set up for profit sharing. So that's why you will see that churches and religious organizations, they have incorporated trustees, because they are set up not for profit, but they need to be registered. So they are registered under incorporated trustees. So NGOs, religious bodies, organizations, let's say old school associations or and all that associations, or just cooperative organizations, they come in for under incorporated trustees. Let me see another question. I can. No, CSC is not in charge of trade. You said is CSC in charge of trade? You mean trademark? If you mean trademark, no, it is the Ministry of Trade and Industry that is in. They are the ones that will license you under the trademark. It is not the CSC that is in charge of trademark. You understand? It's not the CSC. Let me see any other question here. Okay. For the cost of copyright and trademark, what I would say is it is going to cost you if you want to do the legwork yourself. And if I call this sum, you have to understand that there is a Nigerian factor when you are registering these things. I hope you understand what I mean by the Nigerian factor. There is an amount that you officially pay to the government. And, I don't want to say this, but it's a reality. But as a global person, we know that at some point, Nigeria would be away from this way as well. But for now, there is something they call PR, so you have to factor that in. So trademark and copyright will cost you between 150 and 250, 350, depending on the kind of legwork you want to do. So we can provide you a guide free of charge. We tell you, okay, go to this place, and when you go there, they do go and get the registration. We fill it for you, back and forth like that. Then you can go from there. So I think that's a more appropriate answer for. Yes, you can register a business even though you've not started. Yes, you can. You really can. As a matter of fact, I would encourage everybody that intends to be a global person, go and register a business. You can never, we keep saying this, you can never really make headway and become that person working for someone. Now, you can work for someone maybe for 10 years or 15 years or 5 years, but your destination should be that you want to be on your own. Concerning the employment contract, what can I do if my boss starts bringing in new rules and we had a written? If you have a written agreement, all you need to do politely, your written agreement is the framework. So you have to go back to the agreement and politely draw his attention to it in a more diplomatic manner. Because the reason why I said so is you can't walk into your boss and say, no, sir, my employment contract says I don't work on Saturday. No. You first want to come in from that, respectful position that, sir, you know that I am married, or you know that I need to take my mom to this place. You know that I'm doing my master's. I cannot come on Saturdays. And remember, it was one of the reasons I took this job was because I saw in the employment agreement that I don't work on Saturdays. You have indirectly referred to that agreement, but you have not really said it in such a way that he must listen to you. Because ultimately, if he does not listen to you, it becomes a drawn-out litigation. And most employees don't have the resources to go to court. So that is why you have to be diplomatic about that. Sorry, as a manufacturer, which body should I join? I really don't understand this, but you can, as a manufacturer, you can register your business. You can also, if you have a unique way of doing your shoe, or you have a particular name, you can trademark it. If you have a faster way to create shoes, or there is a unique way, you can also patent it. So we've done branding. Okay, I think we've done. Okay, I think I've done most questions here.
Okay.
I think I've done most questions here.
Let's appreciate our lawyer in the house. Let's give him a very, very awesome appreciation. Taiwo says, thank you, more grace. Wonderful presentation. Let's appreciate him tonight. Let's celebrate him. Thank you so much, sir, for this exposition. And maybe by the time you put all this feedback from them into the slide, you can now send it to us so that we can share with people.
Oh, okay, Mr. Dayo, let me quickly, I saw this question. I wanted to, let me, for this person, I think they repeated it. I have a business name. Can it be upgraded to limited liability? Yes, it can be upgraded. Yes, it can be.
Okay,
that is
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So thank you very much. So I'll get back to you on the update on the presentation slide. There any other person that want to have access to you, maybe they need further consultation and exposition. Like you also said, you also work around the real estate sector. Can you just share more light, especially if people want to consult you in that line?
Okay. Basically, we are into real estate development. So what we do now is the reason I didn't mention it is because this is a Lego Sense, so I didn't want to deviate from. But right now, what we do the most is we buy properties, we buy land, then we build apartments on the lands, and so majorly we operate within the Lekki axis of Lagos. So what we do is, ideally, most people that want to live on the island, that is Lekki, Lagos, they will tell them, go and bring 70 million, go and bring 100 million or 120 million, and they don't have it. So what we do is we buy land, then we now segment it into several apartments so that it becomes cheaper for people to buy. So you can check us out on fingrayprojects.com. So, or Fingray, that is FINNGREY. Projects on TikTok, on Instagram. So, and if you need any guidance as to property development and as to coaching, and we don't even charge for coaching for real estate mentorship, we don't, because we believe that we really cannot make that much from that. But what we do is, if you want to develop yourself as a property developer, you just come work for us, and you can now learn on the job. Presently, we have 4 projects going on. We have a 10-unit, 2-bedroom terrace going on in Bera Estate, Lekki, Chevron Drive. We have another 5 3-bedroom terrace going on in Chevron Drive as well. We have a 4-bedroom fully detached duplex, and we have a standalone fully detached as well in Agungi. So that's majorly what we do. So if you really want to get into construction from foundation level to slab and all that, or you want to be a flipper, and or you can contact us, we would give you resources for free, and we would hold your hand so that you can be a property developer too.
Awesome.